Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Oz with Oz Mechanics, and on today's video we have this 2000 Honda Accord, really old vehicle. So the issue with this vehicle, customer was stating that they took it to a mechanic shop because they had this pesky P0132 code and they couldn't figure it out. So after that, they brought the vehicle to me. So how about in this video, we try to figure out this issue and give the vehicle back to the customer. All right, so we're inside the vehicle right now, and let me just bring this up to you. This was kind of crazy. I didn't really want to make a video on this, but then when they told me what they replaced and what they wanted to replace after that, this is when I pulled out the camera. So the code that we have right here, like I said in the beginning, is a P0132 code. Memory serves, that's an oxygen sensor code. And I'm pretty sure that's it because I did check it out. But the customer told me that the previous shop changed out this. They changed out a TPS sensor, which that code is not for TPS sensor, and a whole throttle body for some weird reason. I also did check, and they did change out the oxygen sensor. Let me just show you this. So I can get my top-down Phoenix Max right here, and we can see that's the only code that we have. We have the P0132 code, but let's really dissect this code right here. So we can see right here, it says O2 sensor circuit high voltage, bank 1 sensor 1. Okay, so what's that mean when I try to look at this? Circuit high is basically telling me that right now is just seeing the voltage way too high, or upper voltage, or something's going on. That's how I see. When I see circuit high, I'm thinking on my end, how I try to think of this is that there's not a ground. If I see circuit low, there's no power feed. That's how I see this. So what I want to do is go down there and verify if there's actually a ground. So let's go to this wiring diagram, and then after that we can go underneath the vehicle, and then we're going to do our test to verify what we have. So let's do this. Whoop. All right, awesome. So now we're on Pro Demand. What I really want to look at is a P0132 code, and this one is showing oxygen sensor, sensor 1, circuit high voltage. What am I looking at when we look at that? Let's dissect the code. I don't know. When I'm thinking of high voltage, I'm thinking maybe there's no ground, open ground, or I'm thinking the sensor side or one of the wires is shorted to power, and vice versa. Let's say circuit low voltage. Low voltage is going to be most likely is shorted to ground or has an open on the power side. That's what I'm looking at. So when we start dissecting these codes right here, P0132 or any other code, when we look at circuit codes or we look at performance codes, remember performance is not in range. So what I want to do now is I want to look at this wiring diagram and see on this O2 sensor which ones are the powers, which ones are the grounds. Remember, these O2 sensors normally have 4 wires because there's 2 wires for the heater and then there's 2 wires for the actual O2 sensor. So let's go to this wire diagram, see what we have. This is going to be a 6-cylinder, the 3.0. So we're expecting maybe 3 to 4 oxygen sensors. So let's see where we have these at. All right, we have a primary heated oxygen sensor and a secondary. Okay, we're going to look at the primary. I don't see any other oxygen sensors. This kind of reads like it's going to be a 4-cylinder, but we can clearly see right here it says 3.0 6-cylinder. Kind of weird. So there's only 2 oxygen sensors on this 6-cylinder vehicle. So remember, this is going to be the primary one, and we can see right here. Normally, you're going to know which one is going to be the one for the heater, is because on the part where the oxygen sensor is at, both wires are going to be the same. So black on black. So this is going to be the heater circuit, and this is going to be the part for the oxygen sensor. So this is what I want to be looking at right here. Now, the thing is, which one is our ground and which one's our power? So green and black. If we go right here, this goes here, and then it goes out to different ones. You see this right there? This is kind of interesting. Remember, they replaced the TPS, the throttle position sensor. It is going to one of these, but is it power or ground that's going to? That's what we got to find out. So you can see this goes to the TPS sensor, fuel tank sensor, air intake temperature sensor, EGR. It's going to a lot of them. And then from there, goes over here. SG2. Okay, that doesn't really tell me too much. Now let's see this other one. That goes over here. Huh. Okay, so we don't, it really doesn't tell us too much. P02S and SG2, that doesn't really tell us too much on which one is ground or power. Let's see if we type in SG2. SG2, nothing. P02S, I think if I got that right, nothing on that. Okay, let's see if we can go over here, because we're going to this other one, because if we go back to here, there's no OEM wiring diagram, and that's what I need. So let's go check it out over here and see if there's an OEM wiring diagram. As you can see, I do know that these have OEM wiring diagrams. Now let's see if we have any wiring diagrams with the ECM. And I forgot what Honda calls it. I don't know, it's PFI or PGI or something like that. So let's look at this. PGM. 6-cylinder, make sure that it's on 6. And what we're going to be looking for is going to be that oxygen sensor. And this is going to be our page 2 or 3. Remember, we got our TPS sensor right here. And those are green and black. Remember, that was connected. As you can see, it's connected to our ACT, IAT sensor. And that right there is our sensor ground. That's going to be the one. So it's going to be the green and black. But what we really want to verify is we're going to see where that other one is at. So we go right here. Okay. Now page 3 of 3. There you go. Here's our primary oxygen sensor. These are connected even to our secondary sensor ground. Okay. And then the other one is going to be our light green or white, which is going to be our sensor input. So this is a question. What we need to find out is if we have a short to power on this, or there's an open in the ground. We can see that there's a connector right here on the connector 2, or we can have an issue somewhere on there. But this is a big old but. Think about it. This ground is connected to other sensors. So if our damage was somewhere on the PCM or anywhere else, wouldn't it affect the other sensors? Could be a possibility. Remember, they replaced the TPMS. That's what I want to look at. I want to do a load test on this ground, see what's going on, see if we get a drop. Because remember, they replaced something. Why did it replace it? I don't know, but we have to do our test. So that's going to be the test that we're going to be testing out. Is going to our primary O2 sensor, checking our powers, checking our grounds, making sure that we don't have a short to power or we don't have an open ground. Let's get this. All right, so we're underneath the vehicle right now, and surprisingly, this is a 6-cylinder, and it only has 2 oxygen sensors. Really surprised about that. Normally, a 6-cylinder is going to have an oxygen sensor for both banks, and this one doesn't. But, you know, we can put that aside. But one thing that I did notice is that they replaced the oxygen sensor. And how do I know? Because this is a Bosch one. These don't take Bosches. If I'm not mistaken, they take different ones. And as well, this one might need to be changed out because you see is all dirty right here. If I'm not mistaken, I think these take Denzos, just to be exact. I'm not sure. I'm just going off of memory. I'm pretty sure they take Denzos, but they did change this one out. It does have a Bosch one on there. So, like we saw in the wiring diagram, this was a pain in the butt to figure out which one was the ground. But we did end up finding out that it's going to be, let me see, the black, well, the green and black. So it is right up there, green and black. So what we're going to do this. All right, remember, we got to verify that has ground. So where do we get our power source? You know, Bernie Thompson always says get it from the battery. What I'm going to do for now, just for this quick test, we know that this vehicle cranks on, and there's a starter right there. So we got a starter right there. We're going to hook up our test light on one end of the lead. So let's see. All right, right there. There's our power. So we're going to hook up one end to there on the power, and then we're going to test for the ground. So we have our trusty test light right here, and let's do that while we have a chance. All right, cool. And this starter has been changed out as well. I don't know if you can see that little thing right here has been changed out. All right, so we're hooked up to power. Now, if we touch this to any ground, should light up nice and bright. And as you can see, it is lit up. So next thing that we gotta do is I'm gonna use one of my favorite tools, and that's gonna be this Phil's probe right here. Love this sucker. They have different sizes. I think this is like the, I forgot, 6-inch one or something like that. They have the 12-inch one and the 18-inch one. This is really nice. It really doesn't pierce as bad. You can see right here, you can see the teeth, they're really small. They are non-existent there. And we're gonna use that to probe this. And we don't wanna, you know, mess up the connection or anything. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna probe this. And there you go. All right, so now we are probed. And the cool thing about this Phil's probe, it has a copper end right there and right here so we can test. So we have a ground. So what's going on then? Why do we have that code if this has a ground? That's what we have to verify. So what we can do actually a load test. To do this, the cool thing about this one right here, this tool, and my good friend Jarhead sells these, so if you want one of these, they're really cool. It's just mine's is already beat up. I gotta change it out real quick. But you put one end right here on the back, so this is really convenient. As you can see, right there, really convenient. And then the other end, we gotta hook it up to power. The only bad thing is that our power is pretty far away. Let's see what's gonna happen right here. All the load's gonna be used up on this one, so yeah. You see it's gonna be getting it right here. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get an extension that goes from the starter to here. And we're just gonna verify that we have a proper ground. Because remember, this one is about, with the resistance, we're pulling what, about 0.300 amps, so it's not gonna be a lot. That one is gonna be pushing a lot more. So let me get something right there so we can kind of bridge that together. All right, so now what we have right here, this is one of my other favorite tools right here. This is a magnetic test lead. It's a, like I said, magnetic. It's a 10-foot retractable one. So we have one end hooked up to our starter, and then we're gonna have this other end right here that we're gonna verify if this is nice and bright. And look at that, it's nice and bright. So what's going on here? Could it just be a bad oxygen sensor? Or could we have something wrong with the connector right there? Remember, this is almost a 24-year-old vehicle right here. So what we can do, an easy little test, is disconnect this, take this off. All right, we gotta take this off. And now we gotta see where this green connector is at. All right, so our green connector on this one, it's on the top left. So it's gonna be this gray one right here, okay? It's gonna be this gray one right here. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna hook this right there. So now we're nice and hooked up to this. So there you go. This is hooked up to that gray cable. And then we're gonna verify that we have a ground. So remember, we're still hooked up to this. All right, here goes. There's no ground. So we're just gonna try to move our connector right here and see what happens right there. Oh, look. Look at that. All I'm doing right now is kind of moving this down. Okay? So you see, all I'm moving is moving this down. This is crazy. Look at that. I'm just moving this. Like, you see? As soon as I move it, that's when it brightens up. All right. So now, this is getting kind of interesting. Did it need an oxygen sensor overall? Was it just a connector on this side? What was it? Let's take this off and let's see if we can take a look at this. Oh God, look at that right there. Dude, that's corroded, man. Do you see that right there? I don't know if you can catch it really good. You see those tabs in there? They look kind of closed. And look at the one over here. You can't even see it. Right there, you can kind of see it halfway, halfway, and halfway. And then look at that one, non-existent. So now what I'm gonna try to do, remember my little test leads? I always like using these. AES Wave always sells these. We're gonna get one of those and we're gonna see if we can fit it there and see if it grabs. Let's just check that out. Let me go get that little test lead from AES Wave. All right, so we have our little test lead right here, and this is a Mel FT2.0M. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and probe this in a good one. All right, there you go. So she's hanging on there, and let's do a little pull test. All right, as you can see, I can pull. It has drag, so I think that one's good. There you go. It's on another one, and you can see pull test, perfect. I'm gonna go through all of them, so I don't get any haters saying, well, you didn't do all of them. Okay, yes I did. All right, pull test again, bam. Okay, now we're gonna go to the suspected bad one, which when we zoomed in, we saw that it did not look good. Okay, look, it just fell down, dude. All right, it just fell down. There, it's in there. Let me see if I can do a pull test. All right, buddy. I think we found that issue right there. I think we need a brand new connector. So I don't know if it needed this one, but I am gonna recommend the customer to get the proper one. But let me see what I can do. That looks corroded, so I don't know if I can go in there and kind of fix it up and pull an Ivan from Pine Hollow Diagnostics. So we might have to see, we gotta find a new one of these. This is gonna be a pain in the butt to change out. And trying to see if we can get a used one or what. So let me talk to the customer. Let me see what we can do from here. This being the 2000, do you actually think we can get parts for this? I don't know. This is gonna be hard to say. So let me talk to the customer, let me do some research, and let me see if we can find that sucker right there, because that's it. All right, so we're right here underneath the hood, and luckily everything's just right here. So I ended up taking off this piece right here, and I don't know if you can check that out. Look at that. That looks even better. As you can see, this one is not existent at all. The other ones do still have a little bit of the tab left, but the question was, were we able to find this part? And yes, we were. Standard Motors had this part. It's a S2857. I was gonna solder this, but because this is a really hot engine compartment, and the kit comes with these butt connectors that you can, you know, these are the shrinking one right here. So we just heat up the ends of the butt connectors, and they're watertight. But the main thing is, we need to verify on this one, those ends right here. And this looks like it was a part of this. Look at that. How beautiful is that? And I will tell you this was a hard sucker to find, man. I called every auto parts. Like I did say, it's a 2000, so it was not gonna be an easy task, but we did get it. So right now, I'm gonna do this off camera. I'm just, you know, cutting the wires, making sure that everything is on there great. And then we're gonna put that sucker on, and then we're gonna retest it. And then hopefully, and I'm pretty sure, not hopefully, we already see that. Come on. How is it hopefully anymore? Look at that. Look at that corrosion. That's done. So once we put that, we're gonna retest it. We're gonna get our test light, and we're gonna verify that once we hook up over there, everything should be okay. Go ahead and finish this up for them. I wish I could do the solder. I want to do the solder, but like I said, this is gonna be in the hot part of the vehicle. Exhaust is gonna be right there. So I'm gonna do what S&P provided. And if they put this in here, I'm pretty sure they're trying to choose the best route there. So let's put this sucker in there, let's check it out, and let's get this diagnostics over with. Come on, let's do this. All right, so we got this finished up right here. And man, I don't know why it's strobing out, but look, this is a way that I do this. As you can see, I don't stack them right next to each other. I kind of stagger them. So you have one here, one there, and one in the bottom. Because what's gonna happen is if you put them all together, then they're gonna be all stacked up, and then there's gonna be like a bundle right there. So now these are all in there, a lot better. And then as well, what we're gonna do so this doesn't look all tacky. I want this to look semi-decent. We are going to be using, I'm going to be using this right here. And this is actually from a brand I don't like to talk about too much. It's from Dorman, and they actually make this pretty good. It's a braided wire loom. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna first tape off, you know, so it can be nice and tight. So I got some tape right there, and then I'm gonna put this loom on there. Once we finish that, we're gonna go underneath the vehicle, and then we're gonna finish up this last test. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna go ahead and type that off, put this on there, and then you're gonna see how nice and neat it looks after that. And then we should be a-okay, and then we can test this out and see if this works. All right, so we're underneath the vehicle and we have everything ready to hook up. So we're gonna still test the top one first, because what happens if we didn't connect the butt connector right and then we misdiagnosed this, and we don't want that to happen. We're gonna start off with the first one. And remember, I already still have this hooked up to the positive, so we're gonna see that should turn on, and there you go, nice and bright. So now the next one, and this is gonna be the moment we've been waiting for, is we're gonna go hook this up to this gray one. We have this one hooked up to the gray one now, and this one sucks because this is in the way. I'm always going down, but now we're gonna see, moment of truth. Here it goes. Did we get this fixed? 3, 2, 1. Yay! Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to move this and see if anything moves like last time. And no, there you go. That's the fix. Look at that. Heck yeah, man. So all it needed was that stupid connector right there. And that's it. What do you think of that? How crazy is that? All it was the connector. So there you go, man. It wasn't too hard to diagnose this. All we needed to do is see what the code was, kind of dissect it, look at our wiring diagram, which was kind of hard. Just put ground on there. So we had to kind of search that up, but we found it, and then we looked at that cable. But remember, don't overthink stuff. Try to really go. Do the kiss. So we did that kiss, and then we verified. We had power on one end of the connector, and we didn't have it on the other side. So what was the main issue? The connector. There you go. So that was kind of cool, man. If you have a different way of diagnosing it, let me know. Comment down below. Let me know if I did it the right way, you know. Like I always end off my videos. If you do like this video, please put a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get all brand new videos coming out from Oz Mechanics. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice day. Bye.